everyone, so today's video is going to be a weight loss / diet Q&A video. You guys have sent me tons and tons of questions. I did one of those little question poll things on Instagram and yeah, there were a lot of questions. So I'm going to just jump right into it. I won't read your names because some of you have kind of quite hard to pronounce names and I don't want to accidentally offend anybody and say it wrong because people can get a bit funny about that. So let's start with the first question, which is how do you stay motivated to keep going with your weight loss? It's really inspiring, by the way. Thank you. How do I stay motivated? I think it's kind of just gotten to a point where motivation is that I don't have a choice. I want to feel comfortable, and that is more important to me than anything else, if that makes sense. And so because of that, it makes it a little bit easier for me, and I don't there's an end goal in sight and it's a feeling rather than just a look, if that makes any sense at all. And it's just something that I want to be able to feel good about myself. So that kind of keeps me motivated in that sense. And the more you lose, the more you're motivated, I find. That's really key for me. Losing weight is motivating in itself. Then there are two questions here. One says, what's your goal weight and how much weight have you lost? This is something that I've said before. I'm not going to delve in too much into this because whenever I do, and I have done recently, there's a big backlash to it and it seems to kind of be a bit of a hot topic, so I've decided that I'm just going to avoid it. It seems to offend people, it seems to kind of make people feel triggered is the word that people keep using, and I've had loads and loads of messages from people on Instagram saying it's making me feel triggered, I don't like that you talk about this, I weigh this much, so what does that mean? And it's just, I don't know, it's stressing me out that people are taking it the wrong way, and I don't want people to take it the wrong way. So because of that, I'm not going to mention those kinds of things anymore. When I get to goal weight, I will let you know, and I will have to share a bit about my process, and I don't have a problem sharing it, but I don't want the backlash, which I have been getting. So we'll kind of try and keep it at that. Tips on how to stop urges to binge. I'm going to do a whole video about binge eating and dive into it a little bit more, but one thing that I do think is that binge eating is never actually about the food. It's about a feeling, and then you're taking that feeling out by using food. So you have to kind of be aware of that, but I will do an in-depth video all about that because it's something that I do struggle with and I work on. Are you exercising too or just reducing carbs? I go through little phases where I'll exercise a tiny bit, but I'm so busy with everything that I've got going on in my life at the moment that exercise is really not kind of top of my list. And I know that that's not good, and it's important for our health and it's important for loads of things, but I'm not exercising that much. No, I need to. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. Another about binging. Okay, and when do people get judgy when you diet? How to react? I don't think people do get judgy. People tend to kind of, I think they try and sort of make you feel better by saying, oh, you don't need to, you look lovely. And while that's very kind and it's very nice, you know how you feel best, so you just kind of ignore it. I don't really know how to answer that without kind of someone elaborating a bit more on what they mean by judgy, if that makes sense. I'm not entirely sure. Top 5 favourite weight loss foods. Top 5 clothing tips. Top 5 weight loss foods. Let me do a whole video about that because I've got quite a few things that I want to incorporate in that one video and it'll be too long if I do it like this. But generally speaking, I'm doing low carb, so I focus on fruit, vegetables and a little bit of dairy, and that's kind of what I stick to. Then another question is, try to get the weight off. I have lost a lot, 40 pounds. Everyone else sees it, but I don't. Any advice? That's quite a tricky one because I kind of am in the same boat as that. I know I've lost weight and I can feel it and I can sort of see it, but other people are like, oh, you've lost so much weight, and you almost feel like, well, I'm not there yet, so don't congratulate me just yet. It's kind of how I feel. And I think it's just kind of, you have to acknowledge it when the number on the scales is different. You have to acknowledge it when clothes fit you differently. There comes a point where you have to kind of accept it. And if other people are telling you it, they're not just saying it for no reason. And well done for losing that much weight as well. That's great. Then, what have you struggled with the most and how do you positively deal with it? What have I struggled with the most? Cravings and that kind of thing, not so much. I'm somebody that I do have quite good willpower when it comes to that kind of thing, so that's not something that's affected me too badly. But what have I struggled with? I think socialising's been a bit difficult because I like to kind of have quite a lot of control over kind of what I'm eating and what I'm doing, and I like to kind of know exactly what's going on. And then when you're not following that, it can get a little bit harder because you're not in your own comfort zone and that kind of thing. And so that, I think, can be a bit of a kind of tricky type situation. But I definitely do think that not losing weight or plateauing, or when you have had kind of like a bit of a treat and then you've gained weight, I struggle with a lot. I want to just be constantly going down, but I understand that that's not exactly how it works. And also things like hormonal changes and that kind of thing. Some weeks I won't see a loss, but I know that I've done everything perfectly right, and that's mega frustrating to me. That just drives me absolutely insane. So I have to kind of reel it back in and be like, okay, this is either water weight, it's either like for your period, it's either you've not drank enough water, things like that. I have to sort of tell myself, but I'm not going to lie, I do really struggle with that, but I just have to keep repeating to myself that it's that's going on. Weight loss inspo, pictures of yourself, celebs, Insta accounts. I like the pictures of yourself thing. I don't look at celebrities because I think my body doesn't look anything like anyone else's anyway, so it's a bit pointless. Pictures of me kind of at a weight that I'm happy with is inspiring, and I love following Instagram accounts for weight loss and to see what people are eating and what they're doing and that kind of thing. Love those. Can't think of any that I follow off the top of my head because I follow so many, but generally speaking, I really like that. So I'll just search things on Instagram. Another thing that I find really motivating is actually on Pinterest. Really like putting little things together on Pinterest, like boards of like recipes and things I want to try and inspiration and things like that. Do you have a cheat day / meal? I do, but it's not a planned one, so it's only if it's unavoidable, basically, because I just don't particularly feel the need, and then I always feel like I'm playing catch up for ages after I've done it, which is a bit annoying, so not really. What tips would you give for getting out of a rut and getting motivated to make changes? Just doing it. That you have to reach a point where you feel so fed up that it's worth it to you. And if you're not at that point, that's fine. Don't do it unless you're at that point. That's the only tip I can give you, is you will know when you feel ready. And if you don't feel ready, it's going to fail because your heart's not entirely in it. So just make sure that you feel ready, and then it will just come to you. I promise, it will come naturally. Do you feel hungry while eating very low cal? Any tips for not getting hungry? I'm going to do a whole video about this and a few little tips and tricks that I found because I think it's quite interesting. But I don't feel particularly hungry, no. But I'm somebody that I've got a bit of a kind of weird appetite anyway. I don't have a huge appetite. It's like a weird kind of, if I am eating too much, it's more kind of like boredom eating and that kind of thing, which is something else. How do you avoid being discouraged by unplanned, sorry about that rude interruption. I won't even bore you with what it was, but we were having problems with the delivery for the restaurant and I've got it sorted now. Right. So I answered that question. That was fine. So on to the next question. How do you stay motivated during the weeks you don't have a loss or even gain? Kind of the same as that. I have to just tell myself that it's either because I've eaten something that I know that I shouldn't have eaten, and that will cause a gain. And also something that you do have to bear in mind is when you're not eating carbs, then when you do eat carbs, it does kind of react quite differently in your body. And I have actually noticed that when I haven't eaten carbs, like let's say I've been eating absolutely perfectly for like 2 weeks, and then let's say I'll have sort of a cheat day and I'll eat something, the next day I always do have a bit of a stomach ache, like my stomach's sort of a bit like, ooh, what is this? And that puts me off, to be fair, because I don't like feeling like that. I love that kind of like nice flat stomach feeling. Maybe I haven't got a gluten thing, have I? Because I've eaten it my whole life and I'm fine. It's just because you're not used to it. But I just will have to tell myself that it's that, or I'll exercise a little bit. I say a little bit. I'm not big on exercise. So yeah, that's that. Any tips for any times for continuing motivation? Any times? I think maybe she means any tips. I've lost 3 stone, which I'm proud of, but struggling to maintain now. I think you have to just remind yourself what you don't want to go back to, which is what I'm planning on doing, kind of thing. And that you have to find a way of eating, I think, when you're maintaining. I think maintaining is actually harder than losing, because losing, you've got a goal, it's easier to sort of achieve things. But once you're trying to just maintain, it's easy for things to creep back and little treats and things like that. So I think you have to just be very mindful of that. And maybe I think what the best way of doing it is, and is what I used to do before things kind of got all a bit haywire, is eat relatively well during the week, and then on the weekend release it a little bit and eat what you want, and then you kind of rein it back in, and it's kind of give and take type of situation. I'll let you know a bit more about that once I'm actually doing it. And then last question, no pressure, but was wondering if you noticed any effects on your periods when you eat clean. Yes. Okay. Well, I say yes. It's very hard for me to judge with my periods because I came off the pill. I was on Cazaret, which is one of those progesterone only pills, which means you don't have periods at all. I was on that pill for 3 years. I came off that in August, end of August, I think end of August. So I've had September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. Fuck. No. Oh my God, have I been off it that long? Yeah. I didn't think I'd been off it for that long. Yeah. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. I was going to say I've been off it for like 10 months. No, I've been off it for 10. Oh my God. Well, anyway, I came off it not for baby reasons, but for skin reasons. I wanted to see if my skin would kind of clear up with it and everything. And it was kind of causing a bit of like weight gain and stuff like that. So I came off that. Then it took probably about a month and a half to 2 months before my period actually came back. Then when it came back, my cycles were kind of so weird and irregular, and then it'd be like every 2 weeks, or then it'd be kind of for ages not, and kind of weird stuff like that, and it was just really, really all over the place. And when you've been on a pill where you don't have periods, I think your body does take a very, very long time to adjust. And not just that, what ended up happening to me was I've been on the pill since I was like 16, so I've been on it for a long time, and I've had little breaks and stuff, but I think pretty much on and off I've been on the pill for like 10 years, so that is a very long time to be on it. So trying to remember what your natural cycle actually is quite hard when it was like 10 years ago. It's very hard to kind of know. So yeah, that's affected my period as well. So I don't know entirely if it's because of that. One thing that I have noticed though, since being off the pill and clean eating, is I think my periods have kind of regulated themselves a bit and they've been a bit less heavy, but I have had sort of little weird spotting bits in between. So it's very, very difficult for me to be able to sort of track exactly what's going on and judge it by that, because things aren't entirely back to normal. I think they say when you come off the pill you should kind of give it about a year for things to get back to normal. So that's that, but I definitely have noticed a bit of an effect, and my friend Jenny seems to be convinced that my period issues are to do with my diet. Every time I say anything about them she says, oh, it's your diet, that's what it is. So I don't know, maybe, are we listening to Jenny? Maybe that's what it is. So yeah, I will love you and leave you because this video is probably quite long now. I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and if you've got any questions, put them in the comments down below and I will address your questions in the comments, or maybe I'll do another video or something like that. But I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you soon. Bye.